Today, we're diving into 10 laws of power that all neurodivergent girlies need to know and use in order to get their dream life and get the accommodation and the fame, fortune, wealth, whatever it is they want. And understand this, you might not like me for what I'm about to tell you because the 48 laws of power, they're all about strategy. So the 10 laws of power that I'm about to tell you, they might feel a little unhinged. They might feel a little like something like, wow, I would never do that, or I'm not that type of person. But I am telling you what you can do strategically to extremely improve your life. And sometimes in order for us to get the comfortability, the accommodation, all of the things we want in our life, maybe it's fame, maybe it's wealth, maybe it's whatever it is you want. Sometimes we need to use some tricks that might feel slightly uncomfortable because we are very focused on being the good person in order to get the things that we actually deserve. Yes. So let's dive into it. The first law all neurodivergent girlies should know and use is seem dumber than you think, aka learn to play dumb. You might think, I don't want to play dumb. I've worked so hard to be this smart and I can't hide how smart I am. I want to show it to people. Understand this. If you are in a scarcity bound environment where people can't literally think that you can both be smart and beautiful, and people have a tendency to put you down for your smartness, especially when you're also someone who is a baddie, you need to learn to play dumb in order to protect yourself, protect your energy, and use that energy to get into the environments that will actually accommodate you better. In this case, the best thing you can do for yourself is to learn how to play dumb because that's actually a smart move. You are actually extremely smart if you know how to play dumb. A lot of the times as neurodivergents, we feel like if we're not showing everybody and their mom how smart we are, then we're not really smart. And usually that has to do with us feeling like we're not good enough or like we're not doing enough or that we don't understand everyone. So we gotta like show up in better ways. But understand this. People clock that. People clock that you want to show up a lot. So what they do is that they give you more things to do. They make you more efficient. And especially if you're a woman, like they're going to make you more efficient. They're going to try to make you do more for them. When you show up and say, well, I know this and I know that. I know this. Like I went through school thinking that it was a good thing to be called this year's know-it-all. And I didn't understand that it was a backhanded compliment or like actually kind of an insult till like years later. Because I'm neurodivergent, I don't get that. And it's better to play dumb sometimes. Act like you don't quite understand things. And you might think, oh my God, I can't do that because I don't want to seem dumb. You're going to seem dumb from a distance, both of you. If you are arguing with people that are just here to use your energy, they're actually the smart ones in this case because they knew how to use your energy. You need to know how to play dumb so that you can come off as less of a threat. And that's why I also always tell neurodivergent girlies, it's a great idea to lean into your looks. Look like you're a little too obsessed with beauty because when you're a girly who's a little too obsessed with beauty or pink or dressing up in cute clothes and stuff, people don't assume that you got much else going on and they're going to have to accommodate you for your beauty, which is literally giving you better accommodation in general. People are literally prone to give you that. But if you're trying to prove to them that you can do both beauty and smartness in an environment that's literally based on scarcity, they're going to get really, really threatened. And what they're going to try to do is to make you do more so that you will stay in your place. And we're not trying to do that. We're trying to get you to a place where people will understand you for both your beauty and your smartness. Because when you have an abundance mindset, an unlimited mindset, you understand that beauty and smartness goes hand in hand. But you need to know how to play dumb, basically. And that's relating very much to the next law of power, which is you have to appeal to people's self-interest instead of their gratitude or their mercy. Understand that most people are literally motivated by self-interest. That's the world we live in. And you telling everybody and their mom how hard you have it and that you need really a lot of accommodation and, oh, you got it so hard, and really like going out of your way to look like you have it hard so that people will give you better accommodation. Maybe people are going to give you a little accommodation in the beginning and they're going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. But in the long haul, they're going to be like, I don't want to deal with this. Especially if it's healthy people, they're going to want to stay away from you if you're always acting like everything is wrong and you're trying to cater to people's mercy. It is important that you cater to people's self-interest. And in order to do that without you spending your energy on people and doing things for other people, because people pleasing is also not the solution here, is you need to put effort into yourself. The easiest way for you to cater to people's self-interest is to look like you respect yourself. And how do you look like you respect yourself? Well, you don't need to just like wear boring clothes all the time and sit like this. No, you can have fun. You can go out and be you. But looking like you respect yourself or coming off as you respect yourself means that you put energy into yourself. That's the law of attraction. Where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. When you put your energy into yourself and you say, I love me, what can I do today to make me look better, to make me feel better, to make me have better? Feeling better is not lying in the corner and saying everybody need to do all of this for me. That's not taking responsibility. That's literally saying that it's everybody and their mom's fault. And people are not going to want to hear that. People are going to be like, you can say that a couple times, but like the people that are actually healthy and are going to want to help you to come into better environments, they're not going to want to hear that. And the people that will help you with mercy are just people that are actually here to get something from you, but they're going to make it seem like they're acting out of mercy. Like, it's an actual big Uno reverse here. Like, Uno reverse on your face. You need to appeal to people's self-interest. It might sound a little sad and you might be like, oh my God, people are so shallow. You are probably shallow as well, because we don't have anything but our outside vision, goggles, eyes to judge people with. Every time we meet people, we make judgments. Even if they're good, that's still a judgment. So you gotta know that if someone turns up to a luxury store and they look really put together, even if they're like dressed funky, but if they got their makeup on, if they got their sneakers on, if they got their nails done, if they're carrying themselves with like that attitude, like I'm gonna get what I want, they're gonna get what they want. People are gonna be like, ooh, I wanna be around that person. That's the air you have to cultivate around you. People wanna be around that person. And then when you need something, people need to accommodate you for it because you need it, because it's gonna make them feel good to know that they gave that to that person who's so good in the first. Like, that's why people get more when they feel good, because it's like an energy that you carry. Like, this is me, this is my show. And people are like, oh, I know it's your show, so let's make it your show. Here's more and more and more. You got to cater to people's self-interest. And this relates to the next law of power, which is act like a king to get treated like one. It's basically the same. They're the same. They're not quite the same, but you gotta carry yourself like the life you want in order to get it. And I know it sounds a little counterintuitive when you feel like everything is going against you, but those feelings are definitely going to enhance the need for people to feel sorry for you. And then you're going to feel more sorry for yourself. And it's kind of like a never-ending spiral. That's why I recommend all neurodivergents to study the law of attraction. The next law of power is think as you like, but behave like others. And I'm not telling you to change the way you are. I'm just telling you, sometimes as a neurodivergent, it's not a good idea to tell everybody and their mom that you're neurodivergent the first time you meet them. And I'm not telling you you can't tell them in the long run. You have to get to know them first. But generally, make it your mission to think and do whatever you want. Act like your God-given right is to be who you are. But don't code it to neurodivergence. A lot of the times people will let you do whatever it is you want if you just carry it confidently. Like, people will let you zone out. People will let you stare out in the void. People will let you talk about your special interest, overshare. People will let you hop and dance and literally have no social cues if you just carry it with confidence. Sometimes it's actually more harmful to try to explain it to people because people will try to put you in a box. And you might say, well, people need to be able to understand neurodivergence, and they're like a little ignorant if they don't understand it. Well, people are not necessarily going to understand it if they are not neurodivergent. And not every neurodivergent is going to understand exactly how you are. And some people, believe it or not, when they hear the word ADHD or when they hear the word autism, there's a lot of people that understand the nuance of what neurodivergence means, and that's great. Those are the type of people you can definitely share it with. But there's also a lot of people who hear the word ADHD, OCD, autism, whatever neurodivergent, and the first thing they think is like some stereotypical thing that they've seen on TV or something that they've learned from someone. And that's why sometimes it can be a bad idea to tell everybody and their mom about your neurodivergence, because people are going to box you in. They're going to expect you to act a certain way because you told them that they need to expect you to act a certain way. Even though you didn't really tell them that, you were being nuanced, but they didn't understand. And then you box yourself in because every time you show up, that's kind of like the identity you need to act in on. And you feel like you end up getting stuck in that identity. Share it with the right people, but understand that your confidence can carry you a long way. And people got so many things to think about, that you being your neurodivergent self, if they're hating, go hate. They gotta go hate somewhere else. The next law of power that all neurodivergents should know is use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Basically, you need to stop oversharing. And the easiest way to stop oversharing is get good at focusing on oversharing things that are not necessarily things that are gonna harm you. Because the thing is, a lot of the times we have a tendency to create the reality that we don't want, like attract people into our lives that we don't want, because that's the only thing we can focus on. AKA, the only thing we can talk about is everything we went through, and the only thing we can talk about is how everyone did this and this to us. And that's literally just opening the trap. That's using the law of attraction against yourself, girl. You're literally speaking that into reality. So if you are someone who's an oversharer, you need to start using oversharing in a positive way. What you need to do is you need to use selective honesty, which means get good at telling people what it is you're really, really into. Talk about your special interests. Talk loud and proud about the fact that you love Harry Potter, or you love, I don't know, fishing, whatever it is you love. You love makeup, you love perfume. Talk loud and proud and clear about the things that you love, because more likely than not, that's going to create a reality where people are actually going to give more of what it is you're interested in. Especially if you're a girly, don't be afraid to talk about the fact that you love makeup, that you love hair products and nails and all of this and all of that. Talk loud and proud about it. That is not proving to everybody and their mom that you are smarter than them. Some people might take it like that, but honestly, they can go home and kick rocks. This is merely just like talk with pride and happiness about the things that you love. But also understand that sometimes in order to catch whether people are good people or not, it's a good idea to sprinkle in a little embarrassing story and make up a fake embarrassing story. If you're neurodivergent and you have a hard time being able to gauge whether people are nice or not, the best thing to do is sometimes just give people a fake embarrassing story, because if people later bring up that story, then you'll know whether or not they treat your information with sacredness. The next law is law number 20. Do not commit to anyone. You might think, do not commit to anyone. Does that mean that I shouldn't get a boyfriend and I should just like be dating everybody? No. This means that you are not going to put all of your ADHD energy, your dopamine hits, you're not going to put this energy into people. You're going to put this energy into yourself. You're not going to concentrate all of your energy on people that you don't even know that much, especially when it comes to dating. Like, I could make a whole video about dating rules that all neurodivergent girlies need to follow. And this is for all you ADHD baddies out there. You will have times in your life, especially if you're ovulating, yes, where you'll be like, oh my God, everything is so amazing, all of this and all of that. What you have to understand is you have a tendency to probably think that everybody and their mom is super, super amazing, perfect, but in reality, you're the one who's amazing. You're the one who can create. You're the one who's great. But you have a tendency to commit your energy to people. Like, you're committing your energy to people, and you wonder why sometimes you crash because you thought that everybody and their mom was the amazing one, when in reality, you didn't see that you were the amazing one. What I mean by that is, if you are ADHD gully, you have to understand that you can't be putting all of your energy, all of your happiness, all of your this and this and that into people. That does not mean you have to isolate yourself and be like, oh, no. But a lot of the times, the dopamine you get from doing cool things is not necessarily because you're doing it with other people. It's because you believe that they're amazing, because in reality, you're amazing. People should be pursuing you as well. If you're the type of person who's like, you're getting a lot of dopamine from texting people, and then one day they don't text back and they're like, especially if they're like, we should hang out soon. A lot of people, when they say they should hang out soon, they don't mean that. It's just something they say. If they're not actively trying to plan something, them saying we should hang out soon, and you're like, when should we hang out? Like, when you do hang out, the energy is going to be really tense. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't like this. And then you're going to drain your energy because you committed your energy to someone. And of course, you can definitely have good friends and a partner and all of these things. It just means that sometimes you have to understand that your energy is your energy. It's not everybody and their mom's energy. So don't put all your eggs in everybody else's basket. They're your eggs. This leads me to the next law of power, which is concentrate your forces. What does concentrate your forces mean? It means you should focus on yourself, girly. Where attention goes, energy flows, which means that if you want to achieve your dream life as a neurodivergent girly, you need to put your energy towards yourself. You need to understand that in order for you to get the things that you want, especially if you're a distracted girly, especially if you're the ADHD gal, you need to understand that sometimes you're going to get distracted and you have to have one purpose. For me, for example, one thing that I'm very, like, I have few things that I put a lot of energy into. I make content on social media and I have a couple other things in my life that I put a lot of energy into, but I do not concern myself. The lion does not concern herself with everybody else's business. If you get too distracted, you have to have a couple things that you concentrate your forces on. Like, you have to have things that you need to get up and do. For me, I'm like, I have a soul contract with myself that I need to get up and make YouTube videos. It's all about the process, and sometimes it's the content that you didn't think was gonna be the best content that's gonna make you the most money, or that's gonna go viral, or whatever. Like, just to say that sometimes it's very good for you to have like an outlet, and a good outlet for you to have is first and foremost yourself. Have yourself as an outlet. What can you do for yourself today? Also, start a business. An easy way to start a business is to start a YouTube channel, start a social media page, especially because if you have ADHD, you need to market yourself. Like, when you're an ADHD girly, you kind of need to lean into you being the niche. So concentrate your forces on yourself. Make sure that you put your energy into yourself and understand how amazing you are. The next law is, do not build fortresses around yourself. Do not isolate yourself, girl. As a neurodivergent girly, it is very easy for us that if things are not going right, we're gonna isolate ourselves. Especially if you're on some everybody and their mom doesn't like me and the world is all of this. If you want a life where you're getting everything that you want, you need to put yourself out there. And I'm not telling you that you need to go be friends with everybody and their mom. I'm telling you, you need to put yourself out there. Maybe putting yourself out there is literally showing up on social media. That's a very controlled way, even if it isn't really controlled. It's an easier way for you to allocate people without you having to literally be there and like socialize. But also in general, spend some time outside. Don't be sitting in your room all the time. If you want more, you have to be more. A lot of the times we talk about having a village and wanting a village, but you can't have a village if you're not a villager. Be the villager. Be the character. Like, when you're playing a video game, even if the NPC is a little different, the NPC is still there for a reason. Just because you are you don't mean that you're not good. So show up, be the villager, understand that if people have like some type of way they feel about you, it's most likely just because you feel some type of way about how you think they feel about you. Like, it's all you, it's all in your head. Don't isolate yourself because it cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you a conspicuous and easy target. It's better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. Take it from the book. Read the book. Another one that's important for the neurodivergent girlies is despise the free lunch. What does that mean? Sometimes you have to understand that when people offer you free stuff, especially if you're dating as a neurodivergent girly, you might think someone like buying you dinner and buying you drinks, it's like, oh my God, they're a gentleman. But a lot of the times, especially when you're neurodivergent and you are literally the queen, you got so many special interests, you're so beautiful, you got all of this going for you. People are just buying this stuff so that they can get into your energy and so that they can bring you down. And I'm not promoting going 50-50. We don't do that here on this channel. Your energy is sacred. And in order for you to get the life that you want, sometimes you have to understand that when you get something like going on a date with someone or going for drinks with someone, if you're not someone who hasn't worked on healing yourself and you haven't looked into the law of attraction, girly, you're very likely to end up having people try to neg you or bring you down, and they feel like it's okay because they got you something. So be very aware of that. When you're a neurodivergent girly, it's very important to be aware of that when it comes to dating. Someone might think that it's a good idea for you to go out and just date a bunch of people and, oh, you get a free dinner here and you get free drinks here and oh, free. Like, that's bare minimum. Someone buying you a meal, like they're gonna buy another meal for themselves tomorrow. If they bought this food, they would probably get another portion themselves so they can take it home. You have to just think about it like your energy is worth more than just taking whatever people are going to give you. And then now you have to talk to people, especially if you're a people pleaser. Like, you're going to feel like you have to give your energy because someone gave something to you. No. People gave something to you, you say thank you, and then you go on your way. Of course, not always, but Understand it. What is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. And if you're someone who's a people pleaser or neurodivergent and you have a hard time with social cues, sometimes you'll be over giving when people are literally giving you crumbs. And the next law of power that you have to understand as a neurodivergent girly is you have to disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. If people are trying to bring a bunch of crap to your plate, the best thing you can do for yourself is to ignore it. A lot of the times, neurodivergents have a big sense of justice, or that's a lot of the times what they say. But in having that sense of justice, a lot of the times what you end up doing is that whenever people bring you something that is unfair to you, or do something, or say something, or want you to get triggered by something, whenever you get triggered by something, you make it more about that. As a neurodivergent, that's sometimes the worst thing you can do. And understanding the law of attraction will make you understand this better. Whatever it is you put your attention towards, that's what the universe is going to give you more of. So if you're always focusing on all of the things that people bring you in your face, especially if they're like trying to make you believe less in yourself, or if you get triggered by things, whatever it is that people are bringing to you, you are bringing it to yourself by bringing more attention towards it. If there's something you don't want in your life, and if there's something that you feel like is triggering you, or if you're tired of people always bringing certain things to you, it's kind of like the bully who's like, your mama's so fat. And you're like, no, my mom's not. They got you with that one. They're just trying to get you to react. That's how a lot of times the world is. As a neurodivergent, you have to understand that because the world is literally responding to what you put out there. And if you're always talking about all the things the world did to you and all of the things you don't want, and I don't want this and I don't want that, I don't want this person, I don't want that. And if you're stuck in a victim mentality, because a lot of neurodivergents are, that's what you're going to be bringing more off. As it says here, by acknowledging a petty problem, you give it existence and credibility. The more attention you pay an enemy, the stronger you make him. A small mistake is often made worse and more visible when you try to fix it. It is sometimes best to leave things alone. If there's something you want but cannot have, show contempt for it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem. Move it along. Focus your energy on yourself instead of focusing it on people or things that are not going to get you what you want. It's like you baking a pie and you go to the cupboard and you see all of the ingredients for the pie, but you see the pepper in the corner. Because the pepper is there, now you're triggered because you don't want pepper in your pie. So what you're going to do is you're going to call up your mom and talk about the pepper in the pie. What she's going to do is she's going to be like, well, it doesn't even belong in the pie. And now you're putting all your energy towards the pepper. What's going to probably happen is that, well, she's going to bring you some pepper next time because maybe she didn't really quite understand that you didn't want pepper because you didn't tell her you were baking a pie. You told her about pepper that you didn't want to be there. Like, you're bringing more attention towards it. It's going to accumulate and you're going to get more of that into your life. Law number 10 is avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. If you are a neurodivergent, the most important thing you can do for yourself is to remove your energy from people who are constantly talking about all the things they don't like and they don't want. You might be one of these people. So you might actually have to sit with your energy and realize you're doing that a lot. And when you're sitting with that energy and you're no longer in a crowd of people who are constantly reinforcing their misery around each other, then you'll realize, wow, I'm actually not getting anywhere with reinforcing the negativity. You have to remove yourself from this because you're not going to get anywhere, especially if you're a people pleaser. As a neurodivergent, you are probably more prone to be a people pleaser. You have to avoid this. You have to remove yourself from people that are unhappy and feel unlucky, because a lot of the times when you're a people pleaser, you have a tendency to want to always be there for them. And in the meantime, you're going to end up losing yourself and you're going to end up getting a victim complex and you're going to blame them. But in reality, it's because you wanted to fix things that they're not willing to fix for themselves because they're never going to become happier. They just want you to affirm their reality. So they want you to use the law of attraction. They want you to give them more of what they already have. So you end up in a spiral where you're going to end up developing a victim complex, and then you're going to be the one blaming everybody and their mom like they did. That's why you should be helping people sometimes. You should be focusing on giving people advice on how to grow. You might think that that's the way of you bringing justice to people, but in reality, you're actually bringing injustice to yourself because you don't get the momentum that you really need in order for you to get what you want. Because you're trying to help everybody, but in reality, they need to help themselves because they're stuck in the cycle of uncomfortability in their own bubble, and they're actually addicted to this uncomfortability. So you need to snap out of that, especially because you're probably also yourself addicted to this uncomfortability to a certain level. You're addicted to being able to validate your victim story with everybody and their mom. And when you're addicted to being able to validate that story, then you can't move on and you can't make space for the new identity because you get some type of cushion, mental cushion from being able to blame something on other people instead of taking responsibility, which means the ability to respond differently, aka create a new reality. So you get stuck in the same reality. That's why it's very important to avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. The next one is enter action through boldness. As a neurodivergent, this is very important because a lot of the times we get stuck up in this idea that everything needs to be perfect before we make any move. But as a neurodivergent, it's important that we make moves with boldness. Like we try out things, we literally throw ourselves into things sometimes, because when you are someone who just does that, you're someone who takes chances, you're someone who is a little gimmicky and you like dressing loud or you like having certain types of makeup or you're just a big personality. People are never going to assume that whatever it is you're doing that you might think is a mistake is a mistake. They're just going to say, oh, it's a part of you. And then you're also going to be able to lean into the process of becoming instead of always trying to be perfect. And then you're going to have much more fun. You're actually going to have a much easier life because you're entering everything with boldness, knowing that, well, you know what? Everything's up in the air and whatever it is that falls back on the ground, that's going to be mine. And I'm not going to be sitting around thinking that I need to be perfect. I'm going to enter with boldness and I'm going to create an air around me that literally says, I'm that person, I'm that girl, I know how to do this stuff. Because people rely way more on confidence than they rely on whether you are perfect at things. They don't see the imperfection when you're entering with boldness and you're being bold and you have audacity. When you enter with audacity and you just try out things, people are going to be like, oh, okay, well, she's got this figured out. And they are not going to see all the little mistakes. That's why you can't be focusing on all the small mistakes. Do big mistakes instead, if anything. And then people are going to be like, oh, okay. Well, you know what? You put yourself out there and that matters more than everything else. Anyways, those were, I think, a little more than 10 loss of powers for neurodivergence. And if you want me to make a video about dating rules for neurodivergence, let me know, because I would love to do that, especially for all of you ADHD girlies that have dopamine regulation issues. We got to talk about dating because that's a topic that needs to be touched upon. Anyways, let me know in the comment section what type of videos you want me to do next. Be awesome. Do what you want to do. Get what you want to get because you can get it all. And I know that.